and today I'm going to be sharing with you how to use the new Hugs and Kisses Turnabout stamp set by Concord and 9th. I've gone ahead and printed off my template so that way I can line up my stamp in my mini MISTI, so that way every time I turn my paper I can get that perfectly stamped image. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be using my Distress Oxide inks to create a background before I do any of my stamping. So I'm using my Hickory Smoke ink, and I'm going to take my sponge dauber and I'm just going to press it firmly and then make little circular motions so I can get some ink down on my paper. The next thing I'm going to be doing is placing my template inside my MISTI down here at the corner, and then I'm going to take my little magnet there and hold it in place, and then I'm going to take the stamp and I'm going to line up in the center where the hearts are. And then I'm going to close my MISTI. So that way it is fully in the center. So every time I go to turn my paper, it's going to be lined up. So that way I don't have any overlapping of any hearts. So my paper is just about the same size as my template. So that way it will match. So I'm going to hold that in place. Make sure it's down in this corner really good. So that way you can, if it does happen to stick to the paper, the stamp, you can go ahead and replace it back in that same exact spot. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is inking up my stamp. I'm going to be using a white ink. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my stamp onto my sponged background. And now I have my hearts. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is picking up my piece of paper and I'm going to turn it. And I'm still making sure that that corner is all the way down so that way there's no gaps between. That way it's in the same corner and I won't have any of these hearts overlapping. Again, I'm going to ink up my stamp using my white ink. Go ahead and stick that magnet down. And again, I'm going to press firmly. And we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to pick up my piece of paper and I'm going to turn it in the same direction. Place my magnet. Ink up my stamp again. And once again, press firmly. We're going to go ahead and turn this one more time, making sure that piece is in the corner. Ink up my stamp. And then press firmly. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to go and give it a little heat with my heat tool so that way that ink is nice and dry and there's not going to be any smearing once we run it through our die cut machine. Okay, so now I am going to take my die and a little piece of washi tape so I could keep it in its spot, and then I'm going to find the hearts and line it up so that way it covers each of those hearts. I'm going to press firmly and run it through my die cut machine. And now I'm going to peel off this little bit of tape and reveal the missing hearts. So we had our tape about here, So now I'm going to hold the die in place, and then I'm going to turn it once, turn it twice. So I kept the die in its spot, and I just turned the paper. The same thing that we did when we stamped. I just turned the paper. So now I'm going to line it up with these hearts here, and I turned it twice so that way I have an even amount of missing hearts to the stamped hearts. So now I'm going to press firmly, and then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine again. And now we'll go ahead and remove the die, poke out any of the little hearts that stay in its spot, and we are ready to place our piece of cardstock on a card base. Okay, so I have a 4x4 note card, and I've taken some double-sided foam sticky tape and I've placed it on the back of my die cut sponged turnabout stamp paper that we just created. I'm going to remove that and place it in the center of my card base. So I'll have 1/8 of an inch of the white border from the card base. And putting it on the foam, really, it gives it a lot more dimension. So that way the shadows are kind of coming out from underneath, and it really adds a little extra to it. So now we're going to go ahead and add some ribbon. So I'm going to, on the inside, wrap my ribbon around and tie it in a bow. We'll trim off this excess. And then I have a hug sentiment that I stamped from the die cut set from the Hugs and Kisses Turnabout stamp set. We're going to go ahead and glue this down here in the corner. And there you have a cute little note card that you can give to somebody for Valentine's Day or all year round. This is really a great stamp and die set, just about to make anything. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching.